Hello, this is Greg Allison from Green Grace, coming to you from a worm farm. Talk to you today about nuclear war. I got good news and bad news about nuclear war. The good news, well, the good news is that chances are you're going to survive the strike. If the country gets news, the good news is you're probably going to survive. The bad news is you're probably going to survive. The good news and the bad news are the same news, kind of, sort of, but you want to survive. Most people, unfortunately, think they're not going to survive, and so they're not prepared for it. So they're going to have a lot of misery because they're not prepared, mentally, physically, or in terms of having preparations. Well, that's what this channel is for. It's helping you to survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do you need to survive a nuclear war, and why is it you might survive? Well, if you're not at ground zero, the chances are you're going to survive the initial strike, the initial hit. And if you, because the blast is still a limited radius, the radiation will spread downwind from the blast. Now, if you're in that, you will die eventually from the radiation, but that won't get you immediately. That's going to take a little time for that to take you out. So there is the radiation you got to encounter. But the biggest thing that's going to get people after the war, well, the blast will take a lot of people. The radiation will take more people, but still most people will survive all that. What's going to get you is the societal collapse, because there won't be any services. You know, everything's going to break down. There will be no food, no nothing, no fuel, no food, no power, and disease will start spreading. In the course of a year, according to the type of estimates that went before the Congressional EMP Task Force, the Congressional EMP Task Force to Congress, was that 9 out of 10 people would perish with the loss of the power grid. We're going to lose the power grid. So it'll be a little bit worse than that, but even those estimates were optimistic, as I've discussed with the late, great Dr. Pry, who's been on my channel many times. You need to see my videos on that. So the bottom line is, it's going to be rough, but you will live through it or live into it. So you're either going to get through that period or you're going to have a very miserable demise, but you can survive it. The key is to get ready. You do need to, if you are, now you may say, well, Greg, I live in a big city, I'm going to be gone. Well, we don't know that. The primary initial targets are going to be their strategic nuclear weapons we have. It will be our missile bases. It will be the SAC bases, the Air Force, you know, where they have the big bombers. Those are going to be the submarine ports. Those are going to be the first targets, the main targets initially. Command and control. You can expect them to go after Cheyenne Mountain. You can expect in Colorado Springs. You can expect them, but mainly in the Dakotas and Montana. Yeah, those areas are going to be peppered real hard. And downwind from those, for some area, for some distance, there will be a lot of fallout, because they're going to, especially where the missile bases are, because they got to do ground bursts on those. And when you explode a nuke in the ground, it's going to kick more dust in the air. You get more fallout, more radioactive fallout, so that's more dangerous. So in the areas downwind from that, you got the biggest problem. Cities will be taken out with air bursts. So downrange from the city will be less fallout. That's if they go for cities. Now, they may decide to hold cities hostage. That's what the late, great Dr. Pry told us, is they may just call them and say, okay, we've taken out your ability to strike us back. We pulled your teeth, and now we're about to take your cities. And if you don't surrender or meet certain terms, we're going to start taking them one by one. Yeah, you're going to see New York go by. Then don't do this by this time, and New York will disappear. Next city will be Los Angeles. I mean, who knows what you're going to say. Of course, they may go for the big cities. We just don't know yet. But the big cities are no place to be anyway. The big cities are going to be food deserts. It's going to be zombie land. You want to get out of the big cities real fast. Now, I got a ton of videos on nuclear survival. I'm not going to go all into that now. The whole purpose of this video is to tell you that you will survive, most likely, the initial strike. It's what happens afterwards you got to worry about. So I've got videos go all into the radiation, all into the shielding, and things to do that. See my playlist on that. I got a whole nuclear survival playlist below. Several videos that go into great detail, a lot more than I can give you right now. Great detail talking about radiation, the threat of it, and how to shield yourself, And then beyond that, it is being prepared. And you need to be able to grow your own food. You need to store food, but grow your own too. And you need to store some just because it's going to take you a while maybe to get the skill sets. You can check with prepwithgreg.com. We got a real good special right now, at least for the time being. It's a $250 off special for a 3-month supply, which is awesome. It's less than $2.67 a meal. Now the other thing to do is to buy the beans, the rice, all that stuff, but those won't be as easy to carry around if you got to bug out or bury them. But hey, I say do all that. Also, grow a garden. Now if you want to grow a garden, well, it must have a fire or wreck around here. Maybe it's a nuclear event. I missed it. Anyway, cat don't agree. Cat thinks everything's fine, right? Cat saying, "Oh, Daddy, it's okay." That's what I see the cat. I can't see in my screen here. There we go. Cat says everything's all right. Let's try to hold it different. Oh, there he is. So, 2 cats out here. 2 Tom kitties, brothers. But anyway, guys, get down to it, back to it. You're going to survive, but you're going to have to grow your own food as soon as you can. Hey, cover your compost heaps up. Cover your gardens up with tarps so when the fall light goes, you can remove the tarp and the ground underneath won't be contaminated. Get pectin, get your potassium iodine. I think once you pass 41 or 2, you probably don't need it or won't do as much good. Get worms. Why worms? I got worm beds all around out here. All these worm beds. It's a worm bed. All these are worm beds. So the thing about worms is they will enable you to recycle your kitchen waste, your lawn clippings, paper, and things like that to make the best fertilizer you'll ever have, the best soil you'll ever have. And if you can make yourself up a little worm tea, you're not going to need to go to the stores that don't exist that you can't go to anymore to buy fertilizer. You're not going to need it. And you get to recycle too, your food and all that stuff. So by all means, check out greengregs.com, my website, buy worms. I may be changing the service through which you pay if you're going to use a card online, but you can always send me a check or money order to the address below. Anyway, the prices are there. So there we are, cats and all. Aquaponics greenhouse here. There's a lot of things y'all can do to enhance yourselves, guys, to give yourself a shot. But gardening is crucial. But just remember, you got to survive. I mean, you got to do guerrilla gardening. Hide your garden. There's my greenhouse. Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing I bring y'all these bad news videos. I'm going to do some soothing sounds, help people sleep at night videos, and some of them will be in the water gurgling from the greenhouse. I've got frog videos because Lord knows I've got a swamp over here full of frogs. Got some greens coming up, garlic coming up. There's sunchokes that are going down. Got to do a little more weeding here. Got more garlic in here. Turmeric still over there, and that died down completely just yet, even though we've had a freezer frost. Sand for the worm beds, wood chips for the worm beds. I got 3 piles of wood chips out here in the garden, guys. Those will go for the worm beds. Hardwood. Now I got some pine over here. That'll go in that'll have to go in the garden. But that's hardwood. That'll go in the compost from the weeds pulling up. That'll go back to the worms eventually. Got my well here. Got my rocket motor test stand back there. All preppers have a rocket motor test stand on their property. I used that one back 25 years ago. That was my old portable rocket motor test stand. Got some pallets. Pallet wood's good to use for things. And I got a hole in the ground back here, which is meant to be a bunker one of these days if I never get it finished. Big bunker. Underground house built after like my survival universal home video house. Universal habitat concept. Anyway, that's what's down in there. That's that big hole full of poles. My wood hinge. I can kind of sit down in there, maybe. Anyway, and more worm beds back here too. Anyway, guys, it's a beautiful autumn day. I just wanted to share with y'all this notion that you're going to survive, whether you want to or not. Probably you're going to survive the initial blast. So the next question is, what do you do next? It's try to continue surviving. Just remember, it's our objective to get through whatever comes at us, shake it off, and build a better world on the other side. That's the objective. So survive. You will initially. Your goal is to keep surviving, okay? Because you're going to make it through the initial blast, most likely, unless you are at ground zero. Now, if you're in one of these big fallout zones, you live in Wyoming, Montana, there's some of the big peppers are up there. Then you got something to worry about. I got some damage in my greenhouse there. I'm gonna have to rebuild it. The 2 years of snow, first year damaged it, and the second year just kind of made it a lot worse. If I don't get something done, I don't think it'll make it through this winter. Anyway, just one more thing to do, right? So, here's my solar panels. I got solar. My own concept, totally passive, works passively. No pumps, no electricity, just by the expansion of the sun. All right, my friends, thank you for watching. Greg out.